Yo, what up? This is Elusive Wolf here. Today we're doing an Impale build for Demon Hunter. I really like this run because I feel like I can sustain a lot of damage and really push some more endgame content in hardcore with this guy. So let's look at some of the synergies that we got going on here. My skills are a little different as far as the passives. Usually you'll combine Call of the Week with Thrill of the Hunt, but we're gonna see why this is takes a little tweak on that for some of the stuff that I do. But of course we're always going to have awareness, and what I want to start off with is why ambush is so great, because if we're doing 40% additional damage when enemies are above 75% health, and we're going to crit almost half the time, and we're going to do an insane amount of crit bonus damage. Also what we're going to do is, where did I do it? What did I do with it? I mean, that's just gonna be sick, because we're doing 50,000% more damage with our Impale for the first enemy that it hits. So what we're gonna be using is we're gonna be rocking the overpen. So sometimes I like to run with Ricochet, because if you're already splitting, right? Because this throws 2 additional knives, right? So we're already throwing 3. So if you're ricocheting using this, then it's going to hit more people. So if more people have already been afflicted by Ricochet, and then we benefit from Carlive's point, which means I'm going to generate hatred if they've already been hit by Impaled. So that's sometimes why Ricochet is used, because the more people you hit, you don't have to worry about hatred regen. But we're going to use Overpen because I rolled these so that they rolled cold, so that I can do some testing with the cold damage. I've been kind of tooling around with it all morning. But I also like Fan of Knives, not that I'm using it for damage, but this is what adds to our sustain, our ability to take a lot of damage, right? So we have the bladed armor. So for 6 seconds I get 40% additional armor, and its cooldown is already 10 seconds. So one of the main gems in the build is our Gogok of Swiftness. So I gain cooldown reduction per stack. I can stack up to 15 times, and there's going to be a time where we're throwing and moving, and then, moving with Vault and shit like that. So a couple more synergies are going to tie into that too. That's also why I like Tactical Advantage, because I like moving fast after those vaults. Helps me get out of some tough situations that you might come in. Also, what we're going to benefit from is Chain of Shadows. So after I throw Impale, Vault costs no resource. So that's why we're always going to have Discipline, So we can always pop Shadow Power whenever we need to, because as soon as we activate Shadow Power, right, we get Elusive buff from the cube, which is going to reduce damage taken. So we're kind of moving into this damage prevention type of phase, right? So same thing with Vengeance, right? I chose Darkheart because what that's going to do is reduce our damage taken by 50%. So this build's going to do a sick amount of damage with one skill, Impale, and all the other skills are going to help us survive longer. So skills help us survive, and gear is going to be more towards damage, right? So that's why, I have some of these in here just because it's hardcore, right? I want to have the all resist, so that I don't get super lit up. Of course, we have awareness, so we're always going to be able to back off and kind of reassess, hopefully, for the most part. One of the other things why I like, just jumping back really quick to the Vault is free, so we take the Rattling Roll, right? So that knocks enemies back, and it also stuns them. So we benefit from Strong Arm with that, because anybody knocked back, I do more damage to. And I'm also got bandits trapped in my traveler's pledge, so they're going to also be taking more damage because they got a movement impairing effect on them, right? They're not only stunned, but then they're slowed. So this is good just for running, obvious reasons. Bandit the powerful, you snipe an elite pack and boom, you're set up for the rest of the run. We already talked about Gogoth. Of course, the Compass Rose Traveler's Pledge. You see that all over the place. You know, that combination. I think that's even on my multi-shot build. Just because when you're hunting for elite packs, you need that damage reduction while you're running around. And then when you stop moving, your damage is just going to build up from there. So, you know, from time to time, I'll keep an eye on the convention of elements. At this level, we're not really relying on this rotation to come into play so that we can use cold to its best advantage. Really what it'll come down to is if you're in a fight and it pops, then you'll end up benefiting from it. So that's really the main things that we want to cap off on. Right, we covered that. We covered this set. We covered strong arms, the way the belt helps, the way that helps, the way that helps. And yeah, Shadow Power gains the effect of every rune, and it's always active. That's fucking amazing. And when equipped with a melee weapon, damage increased by 1200%. So we're automatically doing a crap ton more damage. And we're gonna be using Dawn. I think I use Dawn on my other multi-shot build too to reduce Vengeance. Vengeance is always going to be up. I'll throw in Nemesis Bracers because I like the Shrine, and of course Elusive, that's always going to pop. That's pretty much always going to be active, right? Because I'm either going to be vaulting, or if I'm in the middle of the fight, I'll just pop Shadow Power, you know, and that's the only thing that's going to burn Discipline, because you're going to vault right after the Impale. So we can do it. I've been doing some T11s. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. Really, I mean, of course, since it resets, I'd trigger Shadow Power right away, and then I'll just throw on Seethe because there was an elite pack there. But we can pretty much just wreck everything close to us in the screen. You know, I like dodging around stuff because I can just knock them back, right? And I have a decent amount of discipline to keep moving. Also, what we're doing with our Fan of Knives, right? Because we're not relying on Fan of Knives to do damage, and the cooldown's already done. I took the Bladed Armor, right? So not are we going to have Shadow Power and Vault triggering our Elusive Ring to reduce damage we take, but we're also going to have Fan of Knives to bolster that when we need to. So if we're in a mix, we can always just Fan of Knives. That will give us an extra boost survivability while we knock down the enemy or the elite pack. And then of course the last skill, which I pretty much touch on at the end, is the Companion. You know, it's kind of preferential if you want some more attack speed, so you can get out some more impales. You can take the Wolf, right? This build that I've been tinkering with, it gears more towards sustain and being able to really confidently just run around and snipe these packs and not have to really worry about triggering awareness or being super careful in hardcore. You know, I'm doing T11 equivalent Rift level 50 run, or Rift level 50 and run. And just kind of like not super, you know, stressing. That was 123 billion crit right there, like with fucking Impale. And look at this, over 300 million toughness. Life's not even moving, and I only have 687,000 life. That's not that much life, you know. Granted, I'm not doing a level 80 Rift, you know, but this isn't a Greater Rift progression build. This is super fast farming build, you know. I'll probably have 11 minutes and change left when we're done with this. And you can see how it can get super fast, you know, so much faster. You know, you can swap out something for the lightning wreath, right? That's right, wreath of lightning. You can swap something out for that. But you can see with the Gogok, you always have vengeance off cooldown, you know? So that's another thing adding to your survivability. It's just, I don't know, I can't believe I forgot how I set this guy up. It's been a while, but you know, don't even trigger awareness, don't even see this come down. You just annihilate everything. And, you know, 11.5 minutes left. And we just chilled. We just chilled and ran that. We weren't stressing about surviving. This is some shitty drops, though. That's pretty bad. Right? Last run I just did, I got all these, and then I got one. For that, so. You know, if you got gems that you're just pushing, like, to level 50 because you're going to use them in the cube, or if you're just pushing stuff, you know, that's on the lower level side of things. It's a great little setup. You know, there's nothing too, you know, super fantastic going on here. As far as gear wise, yeah, these are both ancients. You know, nothing's crazy. I like the crit hit damage roll on this, but I had to enchant it and reroll for the socket. You know, this you can find easy. This, the easiest thing, or what I like doing with the Carly's Point, is you just make a bunch of daggers, right? Just make a bunch of these, and then cube it up, because when you do this cube for the upgrade rare, it costs these resources, which don't affect your Forgotten Souls. So if you're saving your Forgotten Souls for doing this, if you want to reforge a legendary because you're using 50 here, this is a much better way to go. Boom, just upgrade the rare. But I actually ran out of reusable parts first, so if you go that route, might want to consider grabbing some whites. But that's pretty much for the Impale. We talked about a couple things you could change. You know, switch this to Ricochet or Grievous Wounds. I've had a lot of success with this, but when I pick this up, I usually snipe everything the first shot, so I don't benefit from Carly's Point returning hatred to me, which I could care less about, because what you'll do is you'll take Vengeance and you'll switch it to Seethe. So since it'll always be up, you'll rely on that to generate hatred. And if you go that route, you're in the more physical side of things. So you could switch this to Assassin's Knives, right? So you throw out more, or you can keep it that for the armor duration. But you would want to re-roll your bracers to do physical damage instead of cold, right? And I don't think Holy Point, let's check. I can't re-roll this one, but I can't check with this one because it's different. Let's see, I have another one in here. Oh yeah, this one rolled lightning for Holy Point, and that one rolled fire. So you can get, you know, you could double up the cold. Because I only have 20 cold now because this does 15 fire. So that's probably something I'll be working on, is getting another Holy Point with the right stats, so it either rolls cold, right, or with the right stats so I can re-roll the cold damage, or whatever damage it is into cold. That'd be pretty sick if that was 40%. So those are some other things you can do. You know, switch this out to the wolf if you want. I like the boar. Gave me some more survivability with the life gen and all resist. So that's pretty much wraps it up for the Impale. Another quick run. You know, switch up rattle and roll if you want. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. See you later. Peace.